And this is 94.1 KPFA Berkeley, 89.3 KPFB in Berkeley, 88.1 KFCF in Fresno, and online at kpfa.org. Stay tuned for Setting the Standard.
Nonansi, Yicuactiasti Tascachihuati, Ompa Motecuilpan Xinechtoca, Ompa Nopampa Xichoca, Nonansi, Quintaaca Mistactani, Teca Tichoca, Quiquilui, Huahuiten Cachoxoqui, Juanipoqui Nechtoquia.
Setting the Standard. Once again, my name is Pedro Reyes. I'm right here kicking it with you till 6 in the morning today. So kick back, relax, and enjoy, but at the same time, get informed as we travel together in this journey of sound.
taken into custody for only a short while before being released to a reservation in the Southwest. But miles lost. Geronimo's people and even Apache peacefully settled at the San Carlos Reservation were shipped to Indian prisons in Florida. Geronimo would not live to be a free man. After 23 years as a prisoner of war, he died in 1909.
nos falta organización. No somos rebeldes, somos revolucionarios. No crees lo que dice la Biblia, pero lees los diarios. Nos sirven los políticos, nunca nos representaron. Esto no es misticismo, en realidad que está explotando. Un ejército despierta, alerta, una fuente de poder contra el tirano se manifiesta. Un ejército despierta, alerta, una fuente de poder contra el tirano se manifiesta. Vine para reedificar y tu visión del mundo reconsiderar. Vine para reedificar y tu visión del mundo reconsiderar. Como una leona, como una campeona, defiendo a mi pueblo que le han quitado la corona. El fuego no perdona, mi fe no me abandona. Discurso simple que a los gigachones incomoda. Los barrios se despiertan, el fuego llegó caliente. Somos nueva semilla, nacimos independientes. Poder para la gente, no estés indiferente. Un pueblo con hambre está enojado y esto se siente. Un ejército despierta, alerta, una fuente de poder contra el tirano se manifiesta. Un ejército despierta, alerta, una fuente de poder contra el tirano se manifiesta. Canto para la vida, para la población, favelas, cantequiles, nos falta educación. Canto para la vida, para la población, barriada, rancherío, nos falta organización. Un ejército despierta, alerta, una fuente de poder contra el tirano se manifiesta. Un ejército despierta, alerta, una fuente de poder contra el tirano se manifiesta. Out in the street, they call it murder.
Jah Rastafari trod through this earth and been trotting through this earth for many, many thousands of years. Long before there was America, when there was no England, no France, no Scotland, no Wales, when the earth didn't have any name, when it was peaceful and loving.
Yo, una vez más, Alica y Nueva Alianza, all the way from Argentina, un destino, listen. De todo lo que veía, vine a hablar de la vida en el barrio, vine a contar todo lo que quería, vine a buscar una gente para bailar. De ya un tiempo que yo llegué, los caminos de la vida me trajeron, me quedé. Hoy sigo al selecta, un rhythm de reggae, para darte algo muy bueno, aquí te esperaré. Vengo con el flow de esta mi rima danzante, una esquina sin papeles, ilegal, incesante. Victoria y en el camino del perseverante, mi sangre, mi gente, mi tierra pa'lante. De todo lo que veía, vine a hablar de la vida en el barrio, vine a contar todo lo que quería, vine a buscar una gente para bailar. De todo lo que veía, vine a hablar de la vida en el barrio, vine a contar todo lo que quería, vine a buscar una gente para bailar. Baila, que este sonido te mueve mente en calma, pa' que lo goces con traje y prende el falla. Tranquila, el ritmo de mi música, Nueva Alianza se encarga. Ya, para toda la nación, traigan la mitigación, suban el volumen, ya empezó la sesión. La fiesta en ebullición, una sola explicación, cuando la música golpea, no sientes dolor. De todo lo que veía, vine a hablar de la vida en el barrio, vine a contar todo lo que quería, vine a buscar una gente para bailar. De ya un tiempo que yo llegué, los caminos de la vida me trajeron, me quedé. Hoy sigo al selecta, un rhythm de reggae, para darte algo muy bueno, aquí te esperaré. Vengo con el flow de esta mi rima danzante, clandestina, sin papeles, ilegal,
Cuando sientes que el día se nubla y no encuentres salida y no dejes de buscar la alegría que ya te da. Oh no, si sientes que la luna es tu fiel compañía y amor por el que todo das, no te supo valorarlo y te invade la nostalgia y las noches te hacen largas y el pecho
Yes, that's right. Out in the street, they call it murder. Definitely. Christopher Columbus, supposedly historically known hero, but nevertheless, out in the streets, he's considered a murderer. That's why we're here celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day, celebrating the struggle, remembering the ancestors, those who fought and are still fighting for the freedom of our land, for the freedom of our people to be able to step up and rise up. Que no? Orale. So once again, happy Indigenous Peoples Day as we remember those who are here today with us on this journey of sound. Yes, that's right. And so right now, real quick, before we move on to the next level of dimension, consciousness, we got information coming through the line right here, and they're going to let us know about a couple of events that are happening, de lo que está pasando ahí en la comunidad, porque tenemos que estar informados, as people of the earth. We must know what's going on in our communities. And with us, we got Miguel Perez, who's going to be telling us a little bit about these events out in our community. ¿Qué hubo, ¿Cómo están?
Hey, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás, Pedro?
Y no más, buenos días.
Buenos días, Pedro. Te felicito que estás tan tarde ahí cubriendo los micrófonos de KPFA. Mira, 12 de octubre, en the Move for Foreclosure, they are doing a picket sign in front of 101 Market Street. That will happen from 7 a.m. to, 12, 1, 2. It's all day long. That will be happening on October 12th, 101 Market Street in San Francisco. And, ¿qué más tenemos? El día 13, so that Thursday, the 13th, is in a press conference in the City Hall in San Francisco with Bandana Shiva and John Avalos, Eric Mark, and David Campos. They are supervisors from San Francisco. And this is the announcing of event at 7 at night in the Green Hall. The Green Hall is in the Opera House. That is an event of the presentation of the new info on all the planets who are suffering a lot of the ecological disasters produced by companies who are working on GMOs, so that they modify food and they modify the sea and they pollute it and they ruin most of the land in all the third countries, and that also happened here in the United States. So that will be happening on October 13th from 7 to 10 with Bandana Shiva in 401 Van Ness Avenue. That is San Francisco War Memorial and Performing Arts Center. So remember, it's October 13th from 7 to 10, 401 Van Ness Avenue. And on that is Thursday, on Friday is a huge caravan by bicycle from City Hall in San Francisco to Sacramento and the Assembly of Sacramento and the House of the Representative in Sacramento. That is for the same reason, and people are working different coalitions to get the label of food, because we have the right to know what we are eating, and most of the GMOs are, and this is true. This is something that is absolutely corroborated by different doctors and people from science. We are poison ourselves with the kind of food what we are eating. In particular, the kind of food what poor people eat. This is terrible because it's a cheap food. It's a food who can cans, who have preservatives, who have many different poisons in our bodies. So this is important information, and this is something where we try to work beyond of the immigrant movement. Is also the right to know for how we are eating, and the right to have the properly alimentation in our communities. So this is more or less the information what I handle at this hour, Pedro.
Órale, y en español, por favor.
Y en español lo que estamos diciendo es de que vamos a tener una protesta el día 12 en el 101 Market, que es donde vamos a hacer protestas por la cuestión de los foreclosures. Los foreclosures se han puesto muy feo. Bank of America concretamente ha lanzado la semana pasada 5.000 foreclosures en el área de la Bahía, y aproximadamente como 2 millones de foreclosures en todo el país. Entonces va a haber una protesta muy fuerte en el 101 Market el día 12 de octubre. Y por otro lado tenemos el día 13 una conferencia de prensa a las 12 del mediodía en el City Hall, donde va a estar Vandana Shiva, que es una gran activista hindú que nos está visitando en el área de la Bahía. En esa conferencia de prensa va a estar junto con John Ábalos, con David Campos y con Eric Mar, que son supervisores de la ciudad de San Francisco, que están patrocinando también o apoyando esta conferencia de prensa, que es para un evento que vamos a tener a las 7 de la tarde en el Opera Plaza, que es uno de los edificios que hemos logrado obtener, que queda exactamente en el 401 Vanés. Es el Green Hall 401 Vanés. Ahí vamos a estar a partir de las 7 de la tarde con Vandana Shiva presentando un informe que es un informe mundial, es una coalición de organizaciones a nivel mundial informando de la situación de la comida, los transgénicos, el comportamiento de Monsanto, el comportamiento de DuPont, que son las compañías que producen mayor cantidad de alimentos en el planeta y que han modificado las semillas de una forma tal que lo que estamos comiendo hoy en día es veneno, particularmente las poblaciones de más bajos recursos, es decir, la gente pobre. Y además, el día viernes a partir de las 9 de la mañana, enfrente del City Hall, hemos planeado hacer una caravana hasta Sacramento, que estaríamos llegando el día posiblemente domingo o lunes. Esta caravana tiene como objetivo juntarnos con los legisladores en Sacramento para explicarles la necesidad de crear rótulos en las comidas que digan exactamente lo que contienen, para que la gente tenga el derecho de informarse qué es lo que está comiendo. Así como los cigarros dicen este producto puede provocar cáncer, bueno, nosotros también queremos que la comida diga qué productos pueden llegar a provocar cáncer con la modificación genética que han hecho las semillas. Y más o menos esas son las cosas que están pasando, Pedro. Por aquí, por el barrio, por aquí, por San Francisco, hay mucho más cosas pasando, mucho más cosas. Hay un movimiento gigantesco que está de alguna manera trabajando a diferentes niveles, que está de alguna forma estableciendo diferentes tipos de luchas y bueno, Esto es algo que se viene muy fuerte en Estados Unidos. Creemos de que van a crecer muchísimos más movimientos en lo que resta del año, y como tú sabes, la crisis económica continúa, el desempleo continúa, y por lo que sabemos así va a ser por los próximos años. Entonces, la propuesta para nosotros, para la comunidad, es organícense, organicémonos y veamos cómo podemos crear un sistema distinto y una democracia mucho más real para la gente que vivimos aquí.
Okay.
Dime.
Oiga, y antes que se vaya, le quería preguntar, porque usted sabe que en España es diferente el maíz, ¿no? Allí vino aquí con la colonización, ¿que no? La modificación, digamos, para que pudieran comer lo que comían en España.
Mira, la historia de la comida en América Latina, nosotros hemos sido los productores, estoy hablando de todo, desde la Patagonia hasta Alaska, ¿no? Nosotros hemos traído al mundo casi, sin exagerarte, te diría que como el 50% de la comida. Cuando Hernán Cortés llegó a Yucatán, decía de que la comida que le sirvieron los indios en España le hubieran tardado más o menos como un año en poner toda esa comida junta. Era por la variedad, por la cantidad de variedad que hay. Los frijoles, el maíz, todas estas cosas que sean, la papa, la cantidad de papas que se producen en la cordillera de los Andes, que son aproximadamente 500 variedades de papa. Hay como 300 variedades de maíz. Todo esto ha salido de aquí, del continente americano, de nuestras Américas, y le hemos dado de comer a prácticamente casi todo el planeta.
Y seguimos, ¿no?
Y seguimos nada más que ahora nos quieren robar prácticamente esto que la naturaleza nos ha dado, y que Monsanto y DuPont pretenden ponerle copyright y modificarlo y decir que ya el maíz no es del planeta, sino que es de Monsanto o de DuPont, lo cual es una locura que no podemos permitir que eso ocurra.
Bueno, muchas gracias otra vez por el reporte y los, out there, the community events. Once again, muchas gracias, por estar con nosotros, Miguel Pérez, y estamos en contacto.
Seguro, un abrazo.
Chao.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
And that's right, folks. Once again, talking about the GMO right there, as we know, in many levels of biological warfare that we're dealing with, we should know what is in our food, you know? Just like our ancestors did when they planted the corn, when they followed the seasons and planted those crops, you know? But once again, we're right here celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day. My name is Pedro Reyes. We'll be right here till 6 in the morning. Maybe a little while, we're going to be taking a quick look at what's happening with the Indigenous Resistance Movement, right? Because we know Indigenous Day today was not just given to us by the colonizer. Yes, that's right. Got to stutter for that one. So once again, yes, Indigenous Peoples Day was not given to us by the colonizer. It was actually taken and by the people, right? So it was a movement that was created so that people could be recognized for their indigenous roots and be able to be acknowledged for their heritage of indigenous blood that runs through them. Even though there might be mestizos, there's still indigenous blood that runs through me, you, and everybody else there that has become a part of the mestizaje. So, acknowledging the fact that The other side came through murder, came through genocide, came through rape, came through stealing lands. We must remember that we have our other roots, that we're peaceful, that we're here in harmony with nature, that we're here in balance with the animals, that are still here in balance with the universe. Once again, that blood runs through you, runs through me, all around this world. We all have a beginning. We all have an ending that starts another cycle. So once again, remembering those ancestors who struggled with the other side of me, just to be indigenous, just to be in peace with their ancestors. That's right. We won't forget you, and we'll never let you down. Always hold you up, remembering where you came from. Because once again, the conquest wasn't all love. It wasn't all lovey-dovey. Right? Could have been a love story on Hollywood. They call him John Wayne. Or Apocalipto. But nevertheless, the truth is there. The rape, the murders, the genocide, the stealing, and quote-unquote conquest. But nevertheless, there's people that are still not fully believing in what you say, how you say it, where you say it. Recognizing there's two sides to the story. Yes. Once again, this is Settin the Standard. We're right here kicking it till 6 in the morning. Don't forget, it is Indigenous Peoples Day. Folks are going out to Alcatraz, Ceremonia, as we do Ceremonia right here with you, listening as you might be driving to the Alcatraz sunrise, where it also took struggle to get to the island and be able to have ceremony there. It wasn't easy. And if you go there, you'll learn the story of how hard and how much struggle there had to be before we could even think of having ceremony there. Once again, we must not forget these struggles. We must remember these struggles so that we can pass them down to generations and generations so they will know where they stand and how they got there.
despiertan del largo sueño embrutecedor, 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 embrutecedor. A que los sometieron, porque esta gran humanidad ha dicho basta y ha echado a andar. Porque esta gran humanidad ha time has come for America to hear the truth. These words is beyond doubt. Period of moral crisis. The time has come for America to hear the truth about this tragic war. I've chosen to preach about the war in Vietnam today because I agree with Dante that the hottest places in hell are reserved for those who in a period of moral crisis maintain their neutrality. There comes a time when silence is betrayal. The truth of these words is beyond doubt. But the mission to which they called us is a most difficult one. Even when pressed by the demands of inner truth, men do not easily assume the task of opposing their government's policy, especially in time of war. Nor does the human spirit move without great difficulty. Against all the apathy of conformist thought within one's own bosom, there has never been such a monumental dissent during a war by the American people.
And this is 94.1 KPFA Berkeley, 89.3 KPFB in Berkeley, 88.1 KFCF in Fresno, and online at kpfa.org. This is Settin the Standard. My name is Pedro Reyes, and let's get back to the music.
Polls reveal that almost 15 million Americans explicitly oppose the war in Vietnam. Additional millions cannot bring themselves around to support it. This reveals that millions have chosen to move beyond the prophesying of smooth patriotism to the high grounds of firm dissent based upon the mandates of conscience. And the reading of history. Now, of course, one of the difficulties in speaking out today grows out of the fact that there are those who are seeking to equate dissent with disloyalty. It's a dark day in our nation when high-level authorities will seek to use every method to silence dissent. Something is happening and people are not going to be silent. The truth must be told. And I say that those who are seeking to make it appear that anyone who opposes the war in Vietnam is a fool or a traitor or an enemy of our soul is a person who has taken a stand against the best in our tradition. Many persons have questioned me about the wisdom of my path. Why are you speaking about the war, Dr. King? Why are you joining the voices of dissent? Peace and civil rights don't mix, they say. And so this morning I speak to you on this issue because I'm determined to take the gospel seriously. There is at the outset a very obvious and almost facile connection between the war in Vietnam and the struggle I and others have been waging in America. A few years ago, there was a shining moment in that struggle. It seemed as if there was a real promise of hope for the poor, both black and white, through the poverty program. Then came the build-up in Vietnam, and I watched the program broken as if it was some idle political plaything of a society gone mad on war. And I knew that America would never invest the necessary funds or energies in rehabilitation of its poor, so long as adventures like Vietnam continue to draw men and skills and money like some demonic, destructive suction tube. And you may not know it, my friends, but it is estimated that we spend $500,000 to kill each enemy soldier.
To a place where it renews again. There is first a purification time, then there's renewal time. We are getting very close to this time now. We were told that we would see America come and go. And in a sense, America is dying from within, because they forgot the instructions on how to live on earth. Everything is coming to a time where prophecy and man's inability to live on earth in a spiritual way will come to a crossroad of great problems. It's the Hopi belief, it's our belief that if you're not spiritually connected to the earth and understand the spiritual reality of how to live on earth, it's likely you will not make it. When Columbus came, that began what we term as the First World War. That was the true First World War when Columbus arrived. Because along with him came everybody from Europe, everybody from Europe, everybody from Europe. By the end of the Second World War, we were, in America, we were only 800,000. From 60 million to 800,000. So we were almost exterminated here in America. Everything has a spirit. Everything was brought to you by the Creator, the one Creator. Some people call him God, some people call him Buddha, some people call him Allah, some people call him other names. We call him Omkashila, Grandfather. Then we go to the spirit world. The spirit world is more real than most of us believe. The spirit world is everything. Over 95% of our body is water. And in order to stay healthy, you've got to drink good water. When the European first came here, Columbus, we could drink out of any river. If the Europeans had lived the Indian way when they came, we'd still be drinking out of water because water is sacred. The air is sacred. Our DNA is made of the same as made of the tree. The tree breathes what we exhale. When the tree exhales, we need what the tree exhales. We have a common destiny with the tree. We are all from the earth. And when the earth, the water, the atmosphere is corrupted, then it will create its own reaction. Mother is reacting. In the Hopi prophecy, they say the storms and floods will become greater. To me, it's not a negative thing to know that there will be great changes. It's not negative. It's evolution. When you look at it as evolution, it's time. Nothing stays the same.
Sedan Darwin skrev sitt berömda verk om arternas uppkomst har vetenskapen varit övertygad om att människan härstammar från aporna.
We always say, that might be your ancestor, but it's not our ancestor. He is a relative, but not our ancestor. You should learn how to plant something. That's the first connection. You should treat all things as spirit. Realize that we are one family. It's never something like the end. Just like life, there is no like life.
brisa, con soles de primavera, para plantar la bandera, con la luz de tu sonrisa, así se queda la clara, la entrañable transparencia de tu querida presencia, comandante Che Guevara. Tu amor revolucionario que conduce a nueva empresa, donde espera la firmeza de tu brazo libertario. Y aquí se queda la clara, la entrañable transparencia de tu querida presencia, comandante Che Guevara. Seguiremos adelante, como junto a ti seguimos, y con Fidel te decimos, hasta siempre, comandante, aquí se queda la clara, la entrañable transparencia de tu querida presencia, comandante Che Guevara.
Yes, that's right. This is Settin the Standard. We are here together in the sound journey as we are traveling through time, remembering the ancestors, remembering we have elders, remembering we have family, and we have community. Yes, we are rooted in many different directions. Just like a seed that gets planted in the earth and spreads throughout the world. Once again, thank you for listening. Don't forget you can always pledge online at kpfa.org. We are in a fund drive. We do need your support, especially to get programming like this and keep it local, on the local tip, you know. Try to get down so that we can be able to be here and give you that information, as well as different perspectives. As we know, as humans, we only see two sides of the story. But in our cosmic energy, there could be 3, 4, 5, and so on. So once again, think outside the box and inside the mind. Because intergalactically you are connected to space and time. So once again, right here, we'll be right back after this quick message from our community folks that are doing good work, trying to keep the struggle alive so we don't think it's still okay for people to celebrate Columbus. Because once again, that's the whole point of having an Indigenous Peoples Day, so that we can remember them and how this murderer killed thousands of people, so that we don't keep on pretending this person is the hero, or even continues to be looked at as a hero. And this struggle wasn't easy. A lot of people died for this day. A lot of people marched for this day. A lot of people organized for this day. No president just said, here you go. As you know, that's hard to come around these days. They might promise you whatever they want in their campaigns, but in reality we know, just like the treaties were broken, just like the lives that were stolen, just like the different tribes that were pushed around, like the Trail of Tears, like the ancestors who hid before they were even conquered. That's right, folks. Los Mayas were never conquered. They might say what they will, but we're still here. Running like never-ending blood through generations of DNA that you will never get rid of. Once again, we are here, aquí estamos y no nos vamos hasta que se vaya la madre tierra. Estaremos parados en ella para que nos proteja y nosotros a ella. That's right. Once again, if you do want to call us up, got a barrio service announcement, PSA, I'm thinking of you, or whatever's clever, got a benefit, community, organizing, hit us up right here at 510-848-4425. Big ups to all those ancestors who have passed on in all these different wars of colonization, all these different ways of trying to kill those who take care of Mother Earth, trying to get rid of them like if they don't exist. And as we know, they do exist in many different ways and forms. We are still here, gliding through space and time. as we find ourselves right here on this day, on Indigenous Peoples Day, right here with you, gliding through the frequencies as we transcend out into the universe with the message of love, unity, and harmony with Mother Earth must be found within you, the one. So stick around right here. We'll be right back. Give you some more consciousness or unconsciousness, depending on what time it is. We'll still be here till 6 in the morning, so stick around as we mix it up, break it down, shake it all around. Think about what's going on around in society. Keeping an ear so that I could be informed, out to see what's happening in my community. Intergalactically, we be energy, flying through space and time, low riding through these rhymes, taking it through our slime, side to side. Orale. Yes, that's right. Once again, welcome to Setting the Standard. My name is Pedro Reyes, and we're going to be talking about an event that's going to be happening out in the community for folks to get informed and get an understanding of what Indigenous Peoples Day is and what type of resistance there is with it as well, because it's not just about having the day. The day actually took a lot of resistance in order to actually even get it onto the calendar and be recognized as Indigenous Peoples Day rather than Columbus Day or as well as La Raza Day even, right? So once again, taking it to another level where we're calling it Indigenous Peoples Day. So besides that day, there's going to be an Indigenous Resistance Day as well. So besides today, right here, October 10th, on October 14th, there's also going to be another movement, another protest, another, reason for folks to gather and, recognize their indigenous roots. So out in Sacramento, Califas, there's going to be a protest happening, and we got Francisco, who's going to be telling us a little bit about this event and what kind of day it's going to be for Califas here and if anywhere else, right? So how's it going, Francisco?
Very good, right here, firme.
Orale. So tell us a little bit about this event of Indigenous Resistance Day.
Well, basically, we want to turn around the concept behind October 12th. You know, it started in 1492 with the start of colonization by Christopher Columbus. So we want to change that concept to have that day, instead of be a day that represents the oppression and the murder of our ancestors and our people, turn it into a day where we fight against colonialism, neocolonialism, imperialism, and all the oppression that we face today. And basically what's going to happen is that on October 14, starting at 2 p.m. in Cesar Chavez Park, we'll be gathering with the community, with indigenous organizations, Chicano groups, and we'll be marching from the park to the Immigration Building and the Indian Affairs Building, and then to the Capitol. And we'll be spreading our message to resist against all the attacks that our raza face today.
That's right. So, some of the demands that it says on the indebate.org on the calendar of events where you guys put up your event, it says that some of the demands are stop the deportations, no more cuts to education, stop the threats to reduce ethnic studies in classes, stop the colonization, and to denunciate Columbus Day off of all calendars. So, can you explain a little bit more about those demands?
Yes, starting with the first one, end the deportation. First and most of all, we consider hypocritical that colonial government deports our people who have ties to this land that goes, back tens of thousands of years. And second of all, we also recognize that our people are forced to flee their homes precisely because the United States government uses economic policies that basically starve our people to death, and they force them to come here to provide cheap and exploitable labor, and then they are scapegoated when their capitalist system goes into crisis. So we have it very well in our minds that our migrant workers and people that come here are kind of like the first line of scapegoating when this system, which was created on the murder of our ancestors, fails to, run properly. And also, we want to bridge the gap between the Chicano and the recent immigrant because we're one same people. So that's why we consider our duty to defend our immigrant brothers. Then on the demands to education, again, it's a crisis of this murderous system. It can't even provide education for people. It wants to privatize it and give it to, a tiny oligarchy. So we recognize that. Then on top of that, in states like Arizona, where they passed the bill HB 2281, they're trying to ban ethnic studies. In Arizona, they're successful by saying, they promote racial resentment and a bunch of lies, when in reality what it does is reminds us of our history. But that doesn't fit well with the ruling class of this country because they want to keep us ignorant about who we are. Because if we find out who we are, then we'll see that things are not just meant to be like this, that we have a history to be proud of, and we have people who have fought against oppression we face today, and we can learn a lot from them. So they're trying to basically turn us into zombies by erasing every last bit of history that we have. Also, on the end of colonization and Columbus Day, I think it's more than evident that, first of all, not only did the colonial system commit an uncountable amount of crimes, but it's also a system that right now is in crisis. It survives only by waging war and exporting violence abroad. As you see, like the United States and NATO invasion of Libya, it's a colonial attack, but also neocolonialism when they force free trade agreements in the countries of Latin America. It's the same thing, another form of neocolonialism. So if we want to create a world where there's like a real liberty, equality, and justice, like so many people claim to stand for, then that cannot coexist with colonialism.
Yes, that's right. Talking about that, we see that these immigration reforms are very hypocritical in the sense that, they only go back a certain time in the history of their history, that is. But then we look at that, for some reason, they celebrate Christopher Columbus, but then they don't consider him an undocumented immigrant. Excuse me. An undocumented immigrant, right? And so we see that the fact that, that he's being recognized as someone who discovered this land, puts a spin on the whole story of immigration reform as well, right? And we see that, when education comes down to it, he's the first one everybody's taught about, right? And for some reason, he's not considered a murderer in these history books, but for some reason he's idolized in a way that supposedly he was a conqueror, not a murderer. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, if you read his actual diaries, it's you'll find it that at first when he arrives to the island, what is now like what it was back then, what they called La Española. At first, he talks a lot of good stuff about the indigenous people he found, but once he realized they had gold, you'll find that his fighting is so like inhumane, the way in which he now looks at people, because he was about to commit horrendous crimes just to the people in that island alone. Like he would chop off like their hands, like if they got a call like stealing gold once they enslaved them, and pretty much the population of that island and the almost all the indigenous people in the Caribbean were completely like exterminated. It was a ethnic cleansing. That's why they had to later on like enslave African brothers and bring them to those islands. So yeah, I agree with you. It's like it's like the complete hypocrisy of this country to be enforcing borders when it was actually founded by real illegal immigrants who didn't come here to work and do good things like our folks do. They came here with the intention of stealing land and robbing people.
That's right, and we're seeing a lot of the history books just talking about this nonsense, and here they are trying to, once again, like you were saying, take away ethnic studies.
Yeah, it's like an attempt to rewrite history. You see, ethnic studies, with all its limitations as it may have, it was one of our biggest victories of the Chicano movement in the 60s. As at least we were able to, a certain extent, provide our own narrative of what happened to us. But in these times of crisis, when any sort of inspiration or historical lessons about struggle and who we are, it's dangerous for the ruling class of this country. So they want to make sure that all the immigrants that they're going to scapegoat and all their children are completely ignorant about their history, because then when you do that to a movement, that hurts you in the sense that you have to start all over from scratch.
Yeah, definitely, like, we're seeing a lot of this, reality as well playing out with these wars, like you were saying, where, they're sending brown people to kill people that look like them, for example.
Yeah.
And, it's by the millions, not just by the thousands, and so once again, this event, Indigenous Resistance Day, is going to be taking place in Sacramento, but is it going to be taking place anywhere else?
There's going to be autonomous events across the nation, but there isn't like one national, like coordinated action. And the reason why that is just because after the 60s too, like all of organizations like the Brown Berets, Mecha, etc., were heavily infiltrated by the United States government, and their job was to demobilize them, break them up, and depoliticize them. So the reason why Alta Califas Norte is also doing this action is because we're trying to rebuild the movement. Right now we're just starting with the region, Northern California, but we want to progress so that one day I can tell you, it's going across all major cities. But for now, this is only part of a regional action.
Right on, right on. Well, that's a big start right there, and definitely, I was saying, this day of Indigenous Peoples Day didn't just come to us and was offered to us, or somebody just said, hey, you guys are such good folks, let me give you this day for you guys in recognition of all these murders that we've caused to you guys, So it's been mostly all folks that have been struggling from the community, that have dealt with people dying in their communities, that have, dealt with people that are, against them as well. Like you're saying, the COINTELPRO, for example, is one of them. And the FBI, the CIA, the DEA, all those folks that are a part of the Homeland Insecurity now, right? And so we have to understand that these folks are also targeting activists, as we've seen in the past couple months, anti-war activists and people who are trying to organize within the community. So once again, we have to still resist. We still are not able to still call this just Indigenous Peoples Day, and as we see corporations are still using Columbus to sell their profit, to try to make profit off of Columbus, and the government as well, right? Because once again, we still see that they don't deny the fact that he was here, and they still acknowledge him in this day rather than Indigenous Peoples Day. Is that right?
Yes, very right. And there's like a fact out there to people, like in places where our movements are like a lot more stronger and radical, like in Venezuela, there the government actually officially changed October 12th to Indigenous Resistance Day to honor the resistance of indigenous communities against the Spanish colonizers. So it is possible to, change this day, but also change this land, which is now, under a very oppressive and unfair government,
That's right, because, we must have a day to resist and organize around different issues in our community, especially the indigenous communities where we come from, and, where we might have left as well, right? Because it's not just here, it's happening all over the world. As you were talking about the foreign policies that are forced on different countries, especially to enslave different communities around the world that are of color, low income, and still can't make a decent profit because these corporations keep selling Columbus.
Yeah.
Right. So tell us, how can people get a hold of you, and if anything, get more information on this day of Indigenous Resistance Day?
Well, I'm reachable by email. So the email that I'm using for anybody who wants to get hold of me for this action or around these issues is altacalifasnorte.mecha@gmail.com.
Orale, and this is the event, once again, is happening in Sacramento, October 14th, and why don't you give us the address and the time and space?
It's at Cesar Chavez Park in Sacramento, very near the Capitol, also like by, I believe it's I or J Street, but it's very easy to find, Cesar Chavez Park, and it's going to start at 2 p.m. We're going to start with like a drum circle. We also want to have a ceremonia, and an elder be the first one to speak. And at 3 we'll get going and march to the immigration building and the Indian Affairs building.
And tell me, why the Indian Affairs building? I could understand the immigration building, right, because of all the raids and the deportations, but tell me why the Indian Affairs building?
Well, first and most of all, it's an indigenous affair, the fact that somebody who started the colonization process, it's honored on October 12th. Also because the immigrant community and the indigenous community should really be fighting the same fight. We have like the same colonial experience, except the indigenous people here were colonized by, British and Anglo-Saxons, whereas it was the Spaniards. But we face a common enemy and a common oppression, which is the United States government and the ruling class it represents. So we really have to be united. Also, just ironically, not all of us, but the great majority of us, if you put us side by side by an indigenous person, a native person from here, you won't even be able to tell the difference. In reality, from the north to the south, we're all brothers and sisters in the same struggle.
That's right, and so the Indian Affairs is part of the United States government. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's the one that handles all the affairs with like the native nations here, which have also like their own issues, which are like very grave. Like they have like the highest amount of unemployment, poverty, alcohol. I can't even pronounce that word, but you know what I mean, alcoholismo. And basically, you know, it's like they supposedly they have like sovereign rights, but in reality they don't have real self-determination. Every treaty that is not convenient to the United States government is broken, just like the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo for us, you know, Mexicans, was broken. And those two buildings are actually right next to each other, so even the more reason to join the struggle.
That's right. Once again, that's a good, point to make as well, you know, because we're all in the same struggle. We've had the same colonization, and we're still dealing with colonization on many different levels and all these different invisible barriers that are being put up by these colonizers. So once again, we want to thank you, Francisco, for being with us and telling us and giving us this information, as well as, giving us a contact info. If you can give the folks one more time that contact info just so they can be able to contact you if they want to get informed or get more information in that sense of getting involved.
Yes, it's altacalifasnorte.mecha@gmail.com. Also, you can find the email, the event on Facebook. Just put Indigenous Resistance Day, hosted by Alta Califas Norte. You'll find it there, and that's how you can get all the info.
That's right. And once again, we know that we have to resist what is not ours yet and make it so that it becomes ours again, like it was in the beginning, so to speak. And so, once again, we have to recognize that Columbus is a murderer and that he does deserve to not be recognized for his day or this day. And, we have to keep it real because, as we know, Indigenous peoples, they didn't just come out of this colonization, so to speak. So once again, thank you, Francisco. We'll talk to you soon, and we'll be right back after this quick music break right here on Settin the Standard. My name is Pedro Reyes, y aquí estamos y no nos vamos.
Gracias.
And this is 94.1 KPFA Berkeley, 89.3 KPFB in Berkeley, 88.1 KFCF in Fresno, and online at kpfa.org. Stay tuned because you are listening to Settin' the Standard.
We are the profit list. And now they stand up inside here trying to tell us how to move, when to move. You know what I mean? What to...
I'm tired of these ways, and nothing has changed from yesterday. Oh no, my maladies remain the same. Another song of misery. Oh, so sad, 'cause it's the only thing in common between you and me. Between you and me, we're bastard children to some that but true. We've got no other from whom to learn from. Bastard children to some that but true. We've got no other from whom to learn from. They were never under us, shouldn't fight against a gun. So you see now there are none. Did I just a bastard son? A bastard son. I said, white man, it was you who raised our mothers in the past. You're gonna pay back in such is your injection with your infection. And now we're mestizo with no direction. You both thought and forgetting how to worship Omedeo. And now we are living only a survival box with that little that we gathered from our past. We will conserve for our children, it will last. We will conserve for our children, it will last. We will conserve for our children, it will last. We will conserve for our children, it will last. 1492, the dragon sings from Dusty. A feather back from that devil, spit out the fire to burn Donatina and the children came to bring us down, burn down everything, burn away the knowledge, all our truth, all our roots of you and me. They murdered our elders with a cross as a sword in the name of the Lord. Enslaved my people with a cross as a sword and the Bible of the Lord. Murdered our elders with a cross as a sword in the name of the Lord. Enslaved our people with a cross as a sword and the Bible of their Lord. Ooh, Now I find myself lost in the world of deception. So sick and ill from their infection. Back to childhood, no direction. But I tried, oh I tried so hard, and I suffered, 'cause it caused me so much harm. I lift up my sleeve to see the color of my arm. That is brown like the earth, to keep me going so strong. But still it's not easy, I can never forget the harm you have inflicted on my people who don't believe that in a
they go in front of us because they want to stop us, but they can't stop us because we got this groove. Skanking mellow move. I say we got this groove. Skanking mellow move. Just because the one who look upon us, others let you down. Don't mean you gotta live your life with your face down in the ground. Lift up your chin, look straight ahead. Your mission isn't over to the enemy, it is. And I know that it hurts that they lie to us, even the ones that we love. But you see, you just can't trust anyone anymore but yourself. Just can't trust anyone anymore. And Father, born alone, got no mother, just wanna be close. And Father, born alone, got no mother, just wanna be close. I say they murder our elders of yesterday, and we can't trust the ones of today. Murder our elders of yesterday, and we can't trust the ones of today. But that's not gonna bring us down. They just can't pull us down. They just won't bring us down. They just can't bring us down because I'm there we got this groove. Skanking mellow move. I say we got this groove. Skanking mellow move. I say we got this groove. Yeah, now skanking mellow move, skanking mellow move. I say we got this groove. Skanking mellow move. Oh, they say
Raza insana, y 38 que no juega, el altiplano se une, Ecuador y Bolivia, hip hop de lucha. Del Tahuantinsuyo somos los hijos, somos latinos, negros, indios y mestizos. Hoy vivimos cambios, complicaciones, como no si somos hijos de violaciones. Del Tahuantinsuyo somos los hijos, somos latinos, negros, indios y mestizos. Hoy vivimos cambios, complicaciones, como no si somos hijos de violaciones. Somos hijos de asesinatos y violaciones durante más de 5 siglos de cultura, casi estamos extinguidos. Hemos aprendido la vergüenza, la avaricia, el miedo a la naturaleza. Primero nos roban, pero luego nos cambia la idea de riqueza. Ahora empieza a cambiar la cosa de la tierra, la Pachamama nos da su fuerza.
Vivir una salida de la unión, Bolivia, Ecuador, flow y luchar en contra del racismo. Llevo en la sangre paz, raíz cultural, con mucha humildad, recorriendo muchos caminos, senderos, retos, lentos, seguros y perfectos. Desde el alto, mi casa, mi hogar, llevo el pensamiento de masacra
para el mundo. Y Mashuti Kangi, yo soy micrófono del imperio inca, quedan miles de guerreros, una nueva invasión, hace tiempo que ya empezó, ahora tienen que tener claro de qué lado estás vos. Del Tahuantinsuyo somos los hijos, somos latinos, negros, indios y mestizos. Hoy vivimos cambios, complicaciones, como no si somos hijos de violaciones. Del Tahuantinsuyo somos los hijos, somos latinos, negros, indios y mestizos. Hoy vivimos cambios, complicaciones, como no si somos hijos de violaciones.
Hijos de la mama, pacha, cachas el poder y ahora haces masas. Nos levantamos y despertamos del sueño eterno, nevados en los Andes, cielos. Hijos del Tahuantinsuyo, rompiendo las cadenas de la dominación. Ahora en este flow, ya de mi opinión, ya fe mi voz. Vean, res, mes, ves, nada y sabes que somos los verdaderos pues. Subimos a los senderos, luchando con fuerza y valor. Resistencia hasta este día, yo flow, luchando con fuerza y valor. ¿qué pasa? Masa tras masa, matico en la casa, 500 años de opresión. Esta es la canción donde entra mi flow. Esta es la canción, yo anti-suyo. Humillación y traición, urbano bajo sur. Mi gente despierta, lucha y protesta. Causa de los aprovechadores de primer mundo. Guerreros de sangre morena, por ellos mi sangre encierra. Estoy sintiendo palabras, viendo masacre. Fuera de juego, esto es imperfecto. Siempre causando injusticia. Mi gente se achica, se vuelve suicida. Siguen actuando y encierran mi futuro. Dices te juro y lo digo seguro.
Tuawanchis wiksanchista, apakawanchis costumbrinchis kunata, tatewanchis mana creencia otra, chaymanta causashkaykura.
Ready for the battle, todos armados.
tierra, defiendo mi zacate. Pasas esta línea, madrazo y sin guante. Águila y serpiente, ese es mi estandarte. Hijo del sol, creado por la luna. Mi madre es el agua, la tierra es mi cuna. Lo verde se me adhiere, lo rojo me salpica. Raíces en Jalisco, Guerrero y Costa Chica. Nacido en el DF, la gran Tenochtitlán. Parientes en Colima y un tío en Yucatán. Toda mi familia la llevo en el alma. Somos un árbol, soy una rama. Sembramos semilla en esta nación. La sangre nunca muere, lo dijo Quinto Sol. Despierta tu alma si aún no te conoces. Somos pura raza, desde el sur hasta el norte. Despierta tu alma, que nadie te lo cuente. Somos pura raza, del este al oeste. Despierta tu alma si aún no te conoces. Somos pura raza, desde el sur hasta el norte. Despierta tu alma, que nadie te lo cuente. Somos pura raza, del este al oeste. ¿Qué representa? ¿De dónde vienes? ¿Qué idioma hablas? ¿Qué color tienes? ¿Dónde naciste? ¿En dónde morirás? ¿Qué es lo que tú hiciste? ¿A dónde llegarás? Tu alma vive, tu corazón respira, la mente piensa, la piel transpira. Eres puro y de buena casta, eres como yo, no somos pura raza. Con Pedro, José, Ramona y María, Pérez, Fernández, Gómez y García. Mismos nombres, mismos apellidos, todos en lucha desde que nacimos. Mexicas, soltecas, mayas, huicholes, chile, tortilla, sal y frijoles. Mujeres y hombres, niños y jóvenes, despierta tu alma si aún no te conoces. Despierta tu alma si aún no te conoces. Somos pura raza, desde el sur hasta el norte. Despierta tu alma, que nadie te lo cuente. Somos pura raza, del este al oeste. Despierta tu alma si aún no te conoces. Somos pura raza, del sur hasta el norte. Despierta tu alma, que nadie te lo cuente. Somos pura raza, del este al oeste. Despierta tu alma si aún no te conoces. Somos pura raza, desde el sur hasta el norte. Despierta tu alma, que nadie te lo cuente. Somos pura raza, del este al oeste. Despierta tu alma si aún no te conoces. Somos pura raza, del sur hasta el norte. Despierta tu alma, que nadie te lo cuente. Somos pura raza, del este al oeste.
It won't be long, my people are strong, and 500 years isn't that long. It won't be long, my people are strong, and 500 years is like a 4-minute song. It won't be long, my people are strong, and 500 years isn't that long. It won't be long, my people are strong, and 500 years is like a 4-minute song. I tried to live my life with a purpose, walk the earth with the spirit, keeping track of the stars with the torso king ring. Hear the skits on birds sing. Your imagination is a powerful thing when you're locked inside the American dream, the land of the drug scene and the filthy rich. There has to come a time when this all will switch back to the old ways. Find your way through the maze, burning the stage, it brings happier days. It won't be long, my people are strong, and 500 years isn't that long. It won't be long, my people are strong, and 500 years is like a 4-minute song. It won't be long, my people are strong, and 500 years isn't that long. It won't be long, my people are strong, and 500 years is like a 4-minute song. Searching through my genetic memories, I'm trying to figure out all these ancient mysteries while surrounded by these battle street casualties and other peace criticizing these efforts and activities to improve this life in this battle street communities, while at the same time I'm holding down mine. I'm working all day for the racist kind. I'm looking out for the swine, hoping I can find methods so that no soul gets left behind. Yes, I'm including mine. Don't wanna burn out, but I wanna through all these obstacles, knowing it's beyond these here obstacles. I'll keep my patience, will I keep looking? Study the ancients, will I keep searching? It won't be long, my people are strong, and 500 years isn't that long. It won't be long, my people are strong, and 500 years is like a 4-minute song. It won't be long, my people are strong, and 500 years isn't that long. It won't be long, my people are strong, and 500 years is like a 4-minute song. 500 years,
white eagle would have so many descendants. And my independence as a Native American, and see it's all in remembrance of my heroes, warriors who've always killed cowboys. I found the art form of how to destroy those elements through our toys of microphones, headphones, and sound booths, soundbite samples to translate our truth. And I'm speaking of what I know. Hikste estango, otolabli mojasi benyahitidos, hidi mahi. This is for all of the friends and kinfolk who know this indigenous native hip-hop movement's no joke. This is for the Nogazi, Skitty, Pitahurada, Kikahaki, Chawi, Pawnees, and Minomushika Tiawi. Keys, IMC, El Booby, skin tight, cause this native hip-hop movement is the way of my life.
Original inhabitants migrate from Atlantis, 23,000 BC, before the Euro-Spanish managed to ravage a Nawak continent, raped it, renamed it, now we're lost in it. AMERI, triple KA from NY to CA, Mishikatawi Hokage, they take a name at us, but we ain't right back like Leonard Kroger and Dennis Banks, giving thanks to the elders, helpers who helped us stay centered and selfless, never afraid in the land of the thief, home of the slave, from cradle to grave, warriors stand brave, 500 centuries still they can't break the chain, you digging me? That's why we got peace and dignity, plus a history that's so astronomical, no conquistador or government could ever stop our flow.
It won't be long, my people are strong, and 500 years isn't that long. It won't be long, my people are strong, and 500 years is like a 4-minute song.
The exodus to Tamawanchan has now been prophesied. Aslan is calling the children back to reunite with relations once forgotten. Ometeo has set the scene. It is up to the children to recognize the signs and return home. Return home, home. Return home.
We're going back to where we came from, back to where the truth dwells. Aslan, we're going back to where we came from, back to where the truth dwells. Aslan, going back to where we came from, back to where the truth dwells. Aslan, going back to where we came from, back to where the truth dwells. Aslan,
in search of my original origin, I know I gotta begin within, traveling like the wind, back to the place where I can find my true face, back to the start. I get my guidance from the spark in my heart. So now that the fire is ignited, all the children are invited to return back home, to learn that we will never again be alone. Welcome back by our spiritual family, reconnecting with that universal energy. Ometeo has set the scenery, the green shall appear more green to me. I shall breathe in the breath of purity, taken in by every tree in the forestry, of where the dependency, coexistence, knowing that there is no differences. We shall no longer be separated by the mental fits. I look around and notice that my skin is brown like the ground. The connection is obvious. To Aslan, I am indigenous.
We're going back to where we came from, back to where the truth dwells. Aslan, we're going back to where we came from, back to where the truth dwells. Aslan, going back to where we came from, back to where the truth dwells. Aslan, going back to where we came from, back to where the truth dwells. Aslan, when we live on in native history, Auhe and brother victory, fighting for the next generaciones, as we put it down for all the naciones. Rojo es todo el continente, futuro, pasado y del presente. Mi gente, no son muy conscientes de Aslan and where it all began. Journey to the promised land and back to where we came from, reminding us all that the continent is one. From the tip top back to the bottom, we got problems, we got to solve them. Resuscitation, all the red nations, from the barrios to the reservation. We suffer colonial incarceration, so we foster resistance to foreign occupation. Cause in defense of the earth and the sun, all red nations united as one. All red nations united as one. In defense of the earth and the sun. 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 We're going back to where we came from, back to where the truth dwells. Aslan, we're going back to where we came from, back to where the truth dwells. Aslan, going back to where we came from, back to where the truth dwells. Aslan, going back to where we came from, back to where the truth dwells. Aslan, going back to where we came from, back to where the truth dwells. Aslan, going back to where we came from, back to where the truth dwells.
This is Setting the Standard. My name is Pedro Reyes. I'm right here kicking it with you. Once again, we're right here celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day on this Monday morning as folks getting ready to go to Alcatraz out there in San Pancho. You know how they do. But right now on the line with us, we got Zero from El Vu. And he's going to be telling us a little bit about El Vu, what they've been doing, what they're up to, and some of their projects and what they've been involved in as well. So, without further ado, what's up, Zero?
What's up, Pedro? How you doing?
Right here, man, just kicking it, just enjoying my morning.
Well, you know, we just wrapped up the latest EP that we just finished doing, and that song with Rocco, so we did a video for that, and that was supposed to be released out in Turismo Son, which is like a major TV network for videos in the Latin American market, and also in Spain. So that's going to be pretty big. And then I'm also working on my solo record, so, you know, working really hard for that. So just I got to, you know, be on the lookout. You, Pedro, I'm going to send you a package pretty soon, you know, of my new single and all that stuff. So you guys could check it out.
Orale, man. And so, you know, let's talk a little bit about El Vu and you know, some of the raíces of El Vu and where you guys are coming from with your lyrics. I know there's a lot of, you know, focus around the Aslan movement. There's a lot of focus on the, you know, indigenista movement and, you know, just developing different seeds from different movements that come from, you know, our ancestors. So tell us a little bit about El Vu and, you know, the lyrics that, you know, make El Vu.
Well, El Vu, you know, is a consciousness, man, and I think that's a universal consciousness that's happening, you know, throughout the world, but we really love to talk about our ancestors because we had a way of thinking, we had our own philosophies, we had our own mathematics, we had our own way of, you know, raising our children, so we really delved into those teachings and, you know, we attend ceremonies and we apply those teachings and those ceremonies to our lyrics, and, you know, that's how the group El Vu was born. You know, we sing about, you know, our ancestors and our ancestors' past, you know, even going back to the Chicano movement, you know, with Corky Gonzalez and Reyes and all the greats that came before us. So we try to encompass all that spirit and put it in our music.
That's right, because, you know, a lot of folks are focusing, I mean, there's folks that focus around the revolution movement. There's folks that focus around, you know, the whole, you know, anti-war movement. But then, like, not too many folks are focusing on the Chicano movement, you know, and the indigenista movement and the raíces, you know, and bringing up those consciousness through their lyrics. You know, there's a couple folks that are sprouting up here and there, but then at the same time, we have to understand that this consciousness, you know, is really like hard to find in many areas.
And you know, believe it or not, you know, I walk around every day, you know, with the same type of understanding, you know, but, you know, I take for granted that, you know, some people don't know what I know, you know, or have gone through that road, and or they're not exposed to people who do know or bands that inspire them to do that. So, I mean, I take it for granted that you know, that I have that type of consciousness with me. But that's why I dedicate so much music so much of my energy into music that it will inspire somebody to pretty much find their identity and pretty much, you know, connect them with who they really are. You know, they always talk about the Tetzcalipoca, you know, the smoky mirror that lives inside of us, you know, the one that will sometimes hide our destiny. But, you know, destiny isn't easy. You have to struggle hard for it. And, you know, the Chicano movement is not over. It's still there. It's just taking its new evolutionary form,
That's right. And you actually, Elvu actually made a CD called Evolution. Is that right?
Right.
And so once again, we see the 4 elements in the cover of that CD. Tell us a little bit about that cover. How did it come about?
That was a painter that I had met back when I used to play with Quinto Sol, because I used to be a part of the reggae group Quinto Sol. But back in the day, there was a painter who actually is a quadriplegic. He's in a wheelchair bound, and he has limited mobility of stuff. But he actually painted that painting. That's actually a painting that he painted, and I thought it was a perfect example of the type of lyricism that we were trying to evolve into, because it was more along the lines of taking this hip-hop style but putting some spiritual aspect with it not being Christian. You know what I'm saying? This is a spiritual road, a red road, what the elders call it, so it's kind of like red road music, and we put all of our spiritual energy into it. When we go to the sweat lodges, we think about this, and we pray about it, and that's how it manifests itself. So always evolving, like the elders say.
That's right. Now that you're bringing up the spiritual aspect of it, that's one part that I've been able to relate as well, to your lyrics. Just because talking about, like what you're saying with the smoking mirrors, right? And being able to identify with different gods and goddesses from our ancestors as well, and being able to understand their relationship to our communities, and what that means to the land as well. And because right now our spirituality is being attacked, right? As we know, even on Indigenous Peoples Day, America still celebrates Columbus for some reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to see that, when they're still celebrating Columbus and not respecting the atrocities that he did, right? And the people that he did it to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it takes us to that level where we're still not being spiritually respected, in that sense of what our ancestors had to die for and how they struggled for us to be able to be here and still be here today.
Right. No, we have to remember that there was, for there to be a Columbus Day today, a lot of people had to die and a lot of things had to change. But Pedro, a lot of our struggle is always remembering about like the atrocities that happened to our people. But we got to remember that our ancestors understood the cycles of the universe, and they understood that this period was coming. And a lot of people tried to fight it, and we tried to believe that our ways would guide us through it, and it has, because we found ourselves now. Now is the biggest reawakening of all this that has ever manifested on this, continent. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that, even when they're just barely indigenous, I mean, they take so much pride into it, and they actually, are manifesting that belief of who they are. You know what I'm saying? So
that's right. We're finding our cosmic identity.
Yeah, naturally. You know what I'm saying? And music and art is the way that people it's kind of the fast track. I think, Creator has a way, or nature has a way of reconnecting you, and the way it does that is through beauty, and those beauties are found in the arts, in paintings and music, and poetry and any form of art, that's the way of nature manifesting itself, so that's the fast track to this consciousness, to this identity, art. And we're responsible for that art. And it just so happens that Elvu is a group that speaks about their cultural identity, and they love it so much that it translates to the youth, and it translates to people who just love art. Because I think that's the voice of the Creator,
Especially when you have ancestral knowledge that's coming through those lyrics, and dropping consciousness and like a seed in people's brains, and thoughts and understanding and emotions, as well as spirituality, right? So,
right.
You know, I give big ups to El Boo all the time. I play you music and try to get that consciousness out as well. So tell us a little bit about when are some of your concerts or shows coming up, and where can folks get that information?
Well, right now, you can get all of our information at elvu.com, which is www.elvu.com. That's ELVUH.com. And that's all. We're working right now on solo projects, so there might be a concert or two that we'll definitely dedicate some time to if someone asks right. But right now, we're really concentrating on the solo aspects of what we're doing, and that should be out pretty soon. So you should be getting some rough mixes pretty soon there, Pedro. So hopefully you'll be able to share it with your audience,
To back up a little bit, too, I know El Boo has shared the stage with a couple big names, and, it's interesting that these names actually decided to share the stage with you folks just because, where they're at with their hip-hop and how they're trying to unify this hip-hop with where you're at, right? So
Right.
Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Well, we've had, the opportunity to play with some big platinum-selling artists. We did a show with the RZA at the Key Club. We did a show with Keras One at the Roxy. We've done a show with, believe it or not, Andre Nicotino, which is a big Bay Area rapper, and, not really of the conscious genre, but, nevertheless a big-name act. And those experiences were great. And then also, ultimately, the one that we remember the most, obviously, is the one that we just finished doing, and that was the tour of Mexico City and playing Viva Latino with, one of the legends of Mexico City, which is Rocco. So that was an amazing experience, that you can't ask for anything more,
Definitely. And I mean, like you're saying, right, so it's interesting, that you guys are out there and you're bringing this consciousness with the folks that are, dropping like some underground sort of style hip hop, but then like at the same time are kind of also on the mainstream. So, they got the bigger labels behind them, so to speak. But then, it's cool to see you guys out there on the stage and then be able to bring that consciousness first and be able to drop it for the crowd that's there to see the next act, so to speak. Sharing that stage really makes that difference when you have consciousness like El Vu on there and being able to really, differentiate themselves from what's really on the mainstream, right? So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, it's important to understand that, respect each other on a certain level. And when you're able to play with these type of artists and these type of venues, it's kind of an honor because you kind of get what they say, they co-sign for you, and they kind of believe in your music, so they allow you that moment. And you make that impact with the crowd that they have built for years, and it's really an honor to be at that level and get that kind of artist made it, and so quote unquote made it. But I think when we laid down our music and ultimately left a lot of research and getting into the artists and stuff, and I recently really studied this artist called Alex, the awesome artist. He said that when you create art, it has an aura of protection around it, and it transcends it. It could live up to fucking thousands of years.
I know that you guys also made a song about Apocalipto, right? And
right.
That mainstream media movie, for example, just to bring out some of the consciousness that you guys are bringing to the stage as well, right? Because that was the song that was dedicated to, I think, Mel Gibson. Ancestors were being portrayed as in the movie Apocalipto, right? So we see that through different cultures' perspectives, they're trying to portray us as savages, as violent, as whatever they want to, portray in Hollywood. But then you guys are talking about Apocalipto and the reality of what this movie's portraying. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, that song was, in a sense, a protest song that we decided to do due to the fact that, we felt like our ancestors were being misrepresented. There was more brilliance than torture savagery. You know, it was, these people were very intellectual individuals. They had philosophies that go back thousands of years, you know, and to portray a movie and completely obliterate their brilliance is why we wrote the song. And, you know, we understood cycles that, you know, people at this time won't even begin to understand, you know, so we felt that we had to say that, no, you can't write a movie and just put whatever kind of facts you want to make up. We're going to tell you the truth, and this is the truth. And that's when that song was born.
Orale, Simon, because, yeah, it made a lot of sense to me, you know, and just listening to the lyrics, listening to the song, and being able to understand more of, like, what really, you know, is really going on in Hollywood, and, you know, these types of movies that portray our ancestors, even though they look like, you know, what's that, Oscar award-winning movies, they still mislead and misinform the audience and the public as well, right? So, because they're not reality, they're not all facts that have been checked.
Right. And, you know, the most interesting thing is when the movie was out, you know, I was in a line to watch another movie because I had already seen Apocalypto. I was taking my family to watch another movie, and I saw a Chicano brother tell these two younger kids, go, "Oh, you're going to watch Apocalypto." He's all, "That's true. It really happened." You know, he was kind of making it seem like it was a history lesson. And it's not. It's not a history lesson. Apocalypto was not even close to a history lesson. You know, the brilliance, they didn't even portray 1/10 of the brilliance that our ancestors had and that we achieved, you know. So, I mean, it's very tricky when you go into somebody's history and you try to rewrite it the way you think it should be, you know, and it's just wrong. You know, it's like me doing a movie about his history and making his mom a prostitute and his grandfather a drug dealer, you know.
That's
like,
right.
Yeah, well, you know, that's not the way it was. My grandfather wasn't a drug dealer and my grandma wasn't a prostitute. Yeah, but I don't care. I'm going to make a movie and I'm going to say that they were. You know, it's like, you can't do that. You can't just portray us as savages that didn't understand the meaning of death and that we had bodies laying around and filth and that we were pompous and arrogant and we treated people like that they were dirt. We had too much understanding of the meaning of creation to treat people that way. We understood that life was a way of understanding the Creator on another level, so you wouldn't treat a person bad. It was a very, very unique society, but that movie didn't really pay it any justice.
That's right, you know, and so once again, I really appreciate you guys putting something out for, you know, folks to be able to become conscious about this kind of stuff in the media.
Right on.
And, you know, dropping it because, like I said, not too many other folks are doing that, are paying attention to this kind of, you know, assassination of character, I would say. And,
right.
And you know, as you were saying, you know, like our ancestors are much more than what they portrayed in that movie. And before we go, though, why don't you go ahead and drop a little spoken or, you know, remembered or como se dice, memorized, some spoken or word right here for us, for the folks to listen to a little bit of a zero, maybe something you're going to be dropping in the new album.
Let's see. My mind is like militantly spiritual. The path of a warrior can never be criminal. I keep my thoughts critical. And the love for my people is never subliminal. My life is an everyday ritual. I breathe in the cedar because it's medicinal. I pray with the old ones to guide us through this sun because what we do now affects everyone. Babies are born and elders pass away. The daykeeper has not stopped counting the day. The sacred calendar turns as the new fire burns. These are the days when we shall return to the Mexicayot y indigenismo. Es la profecía del Tatuani. Cuauhtémoc, he visto la hermosura. La fruta está madura. Creen tus abuelos y tu cultura te cura. That should be on my next record. So
Simón,
hopefully your audience will like it, and, you know, check out our Facebook, elbu/Facebook, and then you can check out my personal Facebook, which is, you know, Zero Elbu,
/Facebook. So, yeah, man, thanks a lot for, giving me a shot and letting me express myself on your program, bro. And, you've always been there for us when we were nobody, and now that we're getting some notoriety in the music industry and a lot of, individuals are starting to respect what we do, I always have time for you, bro. So.
Orale, gracias, man. Well, once again, thank you for being with us right here on Indigenous Peoples Day. As we know, we're still struggling to resist and, this colonization and trying to decolonize the mind. So if you want to really do that, if you really want to start, you can always look within, but always listen to El Bu. That way you can really understand what's going on within so that you can have an understanding of what you're battling when you're talking about colonization, right? Of the mind, that is. Because it is a psychological warfare, and, El Bu's out there como guerrilleros de palabras, echando la palabra para adelante y para atrás y para el centro. Zero from El Bu. And any last thoughts or comments for the young folks out here, man, for the youth,
Right now, this is a very special time, and individuals are being very profoundly blessed. Individuals that can achieve many, many big things, and we're in good hands if the youth just open and use their heart, and know that all of the center of anything comes and begins with your heart and your intention. And if your intentions are to change the world, don't let anyone tell you that you can't, because one man's voice or one woman's voice can move mountains. So, we're in good hands. I believe that the youth have the right direction. There's been many mentors, many elders that came before us and that have paved the way and have brought back these old spirits, these old ones to guide us. These youth, really, they're not youth. They're really old spirits that are here to guide us through this transition time, So, big ups to them, and Mishika Tiawi to all the brothers and sisters like yourself that, remember the struggle and remember what we're trying to do here.
One more time for the website for folks to get a hold of your material and just more information.
Right on, it's Facebook /0NBU, and you can hit us up at our website at www.nbu.com.
And that's zero with the Z-E-R-O.
Yes, Z-E-R-O.
Orale pues. And how did you get that name?
You know what? There was a few reasons why I chose that name. I got into a point where, when I looked at my past and I decided that, in a good way, my ancestors, my recent ancestors, like my grandmother, my great-grandmother, they were on a path that was still kind of misguided. And my grandfather, I felt like, since he was an alcoholic and he had his issues, I couldn't follow their path. I couldn't follow my grandmother's path, and I couldn't follow my grandfather's path. So I just decided to become a zero, something that would start a new thing, something new for the new future, and that anything that followed the philosophy that I studied would be passed along to my children, and they would be the 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, and so on and so forth. So that was the first reason. But then I started realizing that, from nothing comes everything. And when we compose music, that's really just emotions that we're manifesting through our spirit and kind of coming out of nowhere, which is supposedly the void or the zero, right? But then I started realizing that the zero is actually the summation of everything. And it's just the mass of everything. So, I take that name with some pride and I hold it up in my heart, and I protect that name in every which way I can, So I try to walk a road that like our elders say, is the red road, and try to follow that road with my heart. And the ancestors have blessed me with that name and the understanding of that name, so I carry it with pride.
Oh, once again, thank you for those wise words, and really appreciate your time. Once again, we've been talking with Zero El Bu. check him out. Check out some of his future projects as well as El Boo or the solo projects, right? We got Victor E. We got E. Rice in the group as well. And, you know, they're the foundation of El Boo. And so hopefully we'll get them going for another, 2012 years and on, so to speak, right?
Right on. It doesn't end, man. It's just the beginning, bro. It's like it's a new time, The elder said that we'd open up, like flowers, the time of, the springtime where flowers are coming out, and we're really going to just, follow our destiny and do it in a good way. And if there's future, there's a future that we need to focus on that's positive, and the only thing that's negative is that we're going to stop lying to each other and hurting each other and stealing from each other and blaming each other. Really, it's all that emotional garbage. That's what, we call the